Okay. Ooh. Ooh, divas. Divas. It is finally a little brisk here, honey. Fall is here, okay? Hello, I got me a little... I even have long pants on. This is the first time I've had long pants on since I moved here in March. Oh my God. Little lip balm, little lip chap. This might be too bright. Ole Heinrichsen. I really do love it, but it's high. Like, why you cost so much? I don't know what to do. I don't know what we're doing. Bitch. It's like pulled one hair. Are we doing this? Because if I do this, then I'm just gonna play with it. So let's throw her up. I don't know why I'm doing all this pre-film yappage. Okay. This is, I don't know what this is. It says let us know, Washington. It's vintage, upcycled. I'm trying to see what you can see. I think you can see. I swear I can't see for shit because there was the Brooks shoebox, and then we're just gonna pretend that that blanket in the corner is just like placed there so elegantly as like a throw and not just rumpled, and I was trying to get it out of frame and failed. Okay, we're gonna pretend. I think we should be good. Okay, and scene. Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. Yes. All right. Okay, girl. What is this video about? That's great. I just was like, yeah, let's film. And then what are we supposed to be filming? Conversations with Friends. Sally Rooney. This is a book channel, right? And it's changed over the years, but we're here to talk about a book. So that's what I'm gonna do. Conversations with Friends is written by Sally Rooney, who is very famous for Normal People. I thought that was her first novel, but Conversations with Friends was first, then Normal People, Beautiful World, Where Are You? Intermezzo. And I think there might be a short story in there somewhere, but I do not remember, because I have made a lot of videos, but I do not recall if I put Sally Rooney in like authors I'm never trying again, authors I don't want to read again. It's possible. So if your memory is better than mine, which it probably is, and you're like, I thought you said you were shh. I didn't mean it. I had before I read Conversations with Friends, I picked up Normal People because I was hearing about it, and I was trying to read it with my eyeballs from the library. I didn't buy it, but Sally Rooney does not like to use like quotation marks to denote when someone begins and stops talking, and that really threw me for a loop. I don't know how far I got into it, but I did not get super far because I was like, what is going on? It was not for me. So I was like, I'm good. Kept hearing about her, but I read more now, but it's never been my top genre. Has never just been like literary fiction. That's what she writes. However, prior to my trip to Ireland, which I did with Trover Trip, which I have a separate video coming about that. TLDR, it was fabulous. We decided, let's read a Sally Rooney book. However, we didn't decide on one. Everyone was just like, pick one you want to read and then we can chit chat about them. So I know that I read Conversations with Friends, as some other people did. Some people did do Beautiful World, Where Are You? So I went into this being like, well, I don't know if this is my jam, but I want to read it in the spirit of an Irish author going to Ireland, other people wanting to read it. Cool. And I have I don't want to say complicated. I just have thoughts about Sally Rooney's writing and the story. Apparently this is also now a TV show, movie. I can't remember which, on Hulu, or is it on Netflix? There's also a Normal People adaptation on either Hulu or Netflix that I heard was excellent. but I have not seen either adaptation. I know you're like, get to the review, but I cannot go any further before saying this because it bothers me. I listen to this on audio, but with the cover, I would see it every time I'm looking at my phone, and it's awful. On the left is the US cover, and let's zoom in, shall we? Hold on. Now, I'm no artiste, but I just hate this cover because when I was reading it, I'm like, who are these people? I don't recall them being described like this. I just like, it bothers me. Why does it look like this? I hate this cover. I think most of her UK covers are better, but like, what is this? So anyways, if you were gonna get this book, I would suggest the UK one because that's better, because I don't know, the faces on the left really upset my spirit. So Conversations with Friends is set in Ireland, and we are following our main character. I already forgot her name, but she's like 21. She's at university. We also often see her best friend, Billy, I think is her name, and they come from different backgrounds. Like Billy comes from like a comfortable lifestyle where she has money. The main character, I am blanking on her name. I could look it up. Frances. That was not what came to mind. So Frances does not come from money. Like her father does give like her a little bit of money, and like she does have things that benefit her, like being able to, her dad's friend is renting a flat that she rents a room in, I think maybe, you know, for cheaper than normal, but doesn't come with this. She's not like flush with cash, right? She's on a stricter budget. She writes poetry. Her and Bobby, I think they perform it together, you know, at like pubs around the city. And you're just kind of thrown into their life. I think one thing I can say, I've only read one Sally Rooney book, but I can say about her writing from this story is it just felt very slice of life. And also very real. Like these just felt like two real people, which is mostly a positive thing, but it can be a bad thing. Not a bad thing, but you know, with being a real person comes positive and negatives, good choices, bad choices, things you maybe are screaming at the character in the book that you're like, no, don't do that. Especially if you can see yourself in these people, even though the characters were younger. I could definitely relate to some of the situations and choices that they were making. And it's always easier as someone who has gone through the thing and is looking back to judge and tell that younger person not to do that thing. But you know, I was a former younger person, and you never want to listen. You're like, you are young, you feel invincible, you're like, nothing can stop me, especially depending on what kind of background, what kind of home you came from. So it felt very real in a way that was like, oh, this just like, it felt like the quality of her writing was so good that she made these characters feel like real people, but also was simultaneously like sometimes infuriating because I'm like, oh, don't do that, don't be stupid. But it was still a book, but it was just like taking me back to some real moments in life. But the core focus of this story is on a couple that Frances and Bobby meet, a man and a woman who are older. I think they're in like their early 30s, and an affair that happens. And that being the central part of the story, you just see a lot of, again, mistakes and bad and things that you wish you could stop Frances and Bobby from doing. So with them meeting this couple, and the main affair is between Frances and this man, it feels like that is the main plot, right? Like, but this isn't a story that's structured with like a setup, here's this plot, and this like this perfect ending. Like, obviously there is kind of the setup, but again, I feel like we're kind of just thrown into their lives. Like, we just one day pick up with these two young people in university and them going about their normal happenings. Bobby and Frances also had a previous like romantic relationship, and now they're friends, so that adds a layer of complexity to it. And now Frances is involved with this older married man. And so there's already that in itself, right? He's married. She is significantly younger than him. He is, got his life together for the most part, especially financially. She's struggling. And then there's also her relationship with her friend, Bobby, her relationship with her mother, she a relationship with her father, who there's struggles there. Also, I thought was something that was interesting and it felt really relatable is that she's like doing an internship, but she's like, I really have no higher ambition. I think she's at a publishing company and she's like, I'm not trying to climb in this company. I'm not trying to work another job after this. She doesn't have like these high ambitions post university. I was like, not like I did have those ambitions in college, but now as an adult, I don't. But so it's really interesting. She's like, just this multifaceted person that not like I was like, wow, I love Frances as a character. I want to be her. It wasn't ever like that. It was just like, I can see younger self in Frances. She is not perfect. Her relationships are messy. I didn't always love the relationship that she had with Bobby. Things that she would withhold from Bobby, who's supposed to be her best friend, from her mom. Things that she decided to do, ways that she would almost use people. I just feel like I finished the book, maybe, is it now a week, 2 weeks ago? And I've still been thinking about it. I think, which can be both negative and positive. For me, I think it's positive. Because I just keep thinking about little things. And it just felt like a chunk, like a slice of life, but out of someone's real life that has caused me to reflect on my own life and like looking back. And I think it evokes, I think her writing, just the way it is. And I meant to say that this second time I did not read a physical book or ebook. I listened to the audio, which I think is a lot better if the quotation thing is going to slip you up if you wanted to give her another try, because this worked really well for me. So in a relatively short amount of time, I think 350 pages maybe, the book, a lot happened and also not a lot. And I don't think a lot of time passes, maybe a few months, maybe. And also some things are just like, why are you telling me this? Just little moments, little bits she adds to set the scene that may seem superfluous in the moment, but just really, at least for me in my mind, really help, I guess, like center me, really like put me in the place like where they are, really differentiate this space from something else. So I think that Sally Rooney's writing worked for me because it just helped, I guess, I don't want to say ground me in the moment, and make everything come to life, even if we were just going through the motions of Frances going to class or meeting someone for a coffee, or her meeting up with her lover, an argument with Bobby, she was having a medical issue, like all of these things, again, felt like I was following along in someone's real life. And just a lot of reflection, again, back on things you do when you're young because you feel like you're invincible. No one can tell you anything. You know better than everyone else, even if that person has experienced that. Ways that I will say men, but this could be older people, take advantage of younger people, because obviously he has like a power just in being more experienced, having money, being, this person, and this like, he's married, so he's like off limits. And that gives the younger person, in this case, Frances, it makes you feel special. You're like an older man and he's married, but like, even he wants me over his wife, but it's a manipulation, it's control, it's gross. And not like, that's not something I realized. Like, I've realized that now as an adult, as having been a former youth who was in a relationship with a significantly older person. But just much reflection, on, I don't know, that you're struggling, other people are struggling. We all have struggles. Sometimes they're financial, sometimes they're romantic, sometimes it's familial, sometimes it's like, what do I do after graduation? And like, the way we treat people is important, even when we're, you know, maybe going through a time of change, of turmoil, and in those relationships, and not abandoning those who've been there for you for a long time to like move on to something. I just thought I think there's just so much that it has made, like, that it brings up, that it shows you in the story, that then made me reflect on other things, think about things that came up in conversations with the people, with conversation with friends when I was in Dublin. And for that, I will say, like, it's not over the top, I'm in love with this, everyone has to read it, because I don't think her writing would work for everyone. And some people might find it boring. I didn't find it, like, especially with the audiobook. I read it in 2 days, I think I listened to it. So it kept me captivated. I don't think she's going to work for everyone. She does have a large appeal though. She is very popular, but it worked for me. I'm glad that I chose this one. I almost went with Beautiful World, Where Are You? I don't know if that one would have worked. But this does make me want to go back and read Normal People, listen to it via audio, and then watch the adaptation because I heard it was so good. But I feel like I said a lot and also a whole lot of nothing because I don't know how to convey my feelings. I know that I've seen more often that people hate in reviews when people like summarize or just like give a summary. Like that's what the synopsis is for. And obviously like you could read those things on Goodreads. That's why people don't want to hear about it. But this, I would like to become a better reviewer. I don't know how you necessarily do that. So when I listen to someone's review or read someone's review, I like to hear about pacing. They got on with their author's writing style. A plot, was there one? If it evoked emotions, if they felt bored, was it too short or too long? I'm trying to think back. Did I explain that? That there like is a plot, but it's not like, it's not gonna be like a fantasy sci-fi mystery story plot. The characters are not perfect, but I think that makes sense for the story. They are just real flawed people. The writing, I think, is very, I feel like some people have described her as pretentious, and I don't know if I would say that. I feel like it was just, it felt less structured maybe than some stories that I'm used to, but that's why it felt so relatable and real to me. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe I should learn better words before I try to be a better reviewer. And it did evoke emotions and feelings for me. I didn't feel like it was too slow, but I do think some people could find it that way. And again, I think the audio is a really great way to read this if you are worried about the quotations. That's how I felt. Conversation with friends. If you would like to try Sally Rooney, I think you could enjoy it, and I'm gonna go back and read Normal People, and I will let y'all know my thoughts. But if you've read, especially Conversation with Friends or any Sally Rooney, I would love to know your thoughts. Does the quotation thing mess with you? Are you fine reading it without those? And if you are a fan of her writing, how would you explain it to someone? Because you know, sometimes you can say this person has more of an academic style. It is more pretentious or more flowery, very purple prose, or some very basic writing style. And I don't think Sally Rooney's writing is basic in like the way I would say Brandon Sanderson has pretty like basic, like sentence structure and writing. I don't feel like her writing is like that. Like it feels like an elevated version, but also it doesn't feel, I don't know. Maybe I need to take an English course. Maybe I need to take English literature 102 or something. But I hope that gave you an idea of the experience that I had with the story. I would give it 4 stars. I hadn't rated it before, but I'm deciding right now it's a 4-star book for me, which is really good. And I would love to chat with you, hear your feedback, and I'll be back once I read Normal People. And then I gotta figure out which network, which one is on, so I can watch the adaptations. Although heard great things about Normal People, less than stellar about Conversations with Friends, so we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed, hydrated, moisturize, and sunscreen. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.